Welcome Form 4 students. We are excited to have you join us today. With me in the studio is Lechipan Ibsen, and we are going to look at the topic Land Reclamation and Rehabilitation. Together, we'll navigate through the topic, breaking it down step by step, ensuring everyone's on board and understanding each part. Let's look at the objectives for this topic. By the end of the topic, the learner should be able to A. Define land reclamation and rehabilitation. B. Discuss the factors that influence the location of selected irrigation schemes in Kenya, the significance of the schemes and the problems that are experienced in carrying out irrigation farming in Kenya. C. Describe the methods that are used in land reclamation and rehabilitation in Kenya. And finally, compare the methods of land reclamation in Kenya and the Netherlands.
Under the content, we are going to look at 1. Meaning of the term land reclamation and rehabilitation. 2. A study of Moya Tepere and Pekera irrigation scheme. 3. Importance of irrigation farming in Kenya. 4. Problems experienced in irrigation farming in Kenya. 5. Methods of land reclamation and rehabilitation in Kenya. And lastly, comparative study of land reclamation in Kenya and the Netherlands.
Definition. Land reclamation is the process in which unproductive land is converted into useful land for crop, livestock farming, and settlement. Methods used in land reclamation in Kenya. 1. Draining of swamps in flood-prone areas. This is done through the following methods. A. Constructing drainage pipes. B. Digging open ditches and canals. C. Pumping out the water. D. Planting trees, for example, eucalyptus, other vegetation, and also bananas.
Number 2, irrigation. Irrigation is done in order to provide water required for crop growth. Types of irrigation practiced in Kenya are 1. Use of lifting devices. 2. Drip irrigation. 3. Overhead stroke sprinkler irrigation. 4. Furrow stroke canal irrigation. 6. Front stroke basin irrigation. And last, trickle irrigation.
3. Control of pests like seseflies, mosquitoes, and rodents. This is done through A. Bush clearing. B. Trapping. C. Spraying using insecticide. D. Sterilization of the males. E. Draining of stagnant water. Finally, construction of buffer zones.
4. Filling open pits stroke landscaping, and this is in order to be used for farming and settlement. 5. Planting trees stroke afforestation. 6. Filling open quarries with water so as to practice aquaculture. 7. Flood control. 8. Controlling soil erosion. 9. Introducing drought-resistant crops. 10. Use of manure stroke fertilizers. 11. Draining a portion of the lake to provide land for farming.
Characteristics of land reclamation in Kenya. 1. Simple methods of reclaiming land are used, like digging canals or ditches to drain water. 2. Land is reclaimed mainly from swamps stroke marginal lands. 3. Irrigation is used where there is low rainfall stroke in arid areas. 4. Drought-resistant crops are planted. 5. Trees are planted. And finally, there is high evaporation of irrigation water due to high temperature.
Land rehabilitation. Land rehabilitation is the process of restoring land to its former productive state. There are methods of land rehabilitation in Kenya. 1. Planting trees stroke afforestation. This is on degraded land to protect it against the agent of erosion. 2. Construction terraces, thereby reducing the speed of surface runoff, hence reducing erosion. 3. Construction of bunds and gabions in order to hold stroke trap the soil carried by water. 4. Applying manure stroke fertilizers on the land in order to restore its fertility. 5. Filling up the quarries with soil stroke landscaping in order to be used for farming and settlement. 6. Control grazing to allow regeneration of pasture stroke control erosion. 7. Constructing dikes along riverbanks stroke dams across the river in order to control floods. 8. Mulching. This is the use of crop residue such as vegetable remains stroke plant stroke litters stroke grass stroke polythene sheets to cover the soil stroke crop. It helps to retain soil moisture or reducing the soil erosion or increasing water infiltration.
Irrigation schemes in Kenya. 1. Mwea Tebere Irrigation Scheme. Objectives of Mwea Tebere Irrigation Scheme. 1. To reclaim the unproductive land from semi-arid conditions. 2. To occupy detainee labor. 3. to settle former detainees and the landless. 4. To create employment for former detainees. And finally, to increase agricultural production.
Now, sources of water in Mwea Tepere irrigation scheme. 1. River Dhiba. 2. River Nyamindi. 3. River Murumbara. And all the three are tributaries of River Tana.
Methods of irrigation used. The methods of irrigation used include 1. Basin/flood irrigation. 2. Furrow/canal irrigation.
Crops grown in Mwea Tepere irrigation scheme. The main crops is rice. 2. They grow subsistence crops like maize, beans, peas, watermelons, onions, tomatoes, chilies, vegetables, banana, and green grams.
Let's now look at the physical factors that influenced the location of Mwea irrigation scheme. 1. Presence of rivers Nyamindi and Thiba, which provide water for irrigation throughout the year. 2. Presence of black cotton/clay soils, which is suitable for rice cultivation. 3. The area is gently sloping, which allows mechanization and flow of water by gravity. 4. Availability of extensive land, which enables expansion of growth of rice. 5. Hot climate conditions suitable for growth of rice. And 6. Presence of loamy soils ensured cultivation of other crops to support the families settled.
We also have human factors that influence the location of Mwea irrigation scheme. 1. Government policy. E.g., there was need to keep the detainees busy. 2. For people to provide free labor. 3. There was need to settle the landless people. 4. The need to control fronts of rivers that pass through the area. Another one, to increase food production. Another one, for maximum utilization of land. And lastly, to fully utilize the black cotton soils.
Other than government policy, we also have Mwea plains were sparsely populated, enabling large area to be put under cultivation. The cost of resettling the few people was low. Number 3, strategic location near major urban centers like Nyeri, Nairobi, and Embu that provide immediate market for rice. And number 4, labor was readily available due to presence of former detainees or high population in the surrounding regions.
Rice cultivation / processing / marketing. Land is plowed using tractors. The land is divided into plots. After the land is divided into plots, the plots which have banks / ridges built around them hold water. Canals are dug from the river to bring the water into the plots. Basin / flood irrigation is done. The seedlings are planted in a nursery. Seedlings are transported into the already planted plots. Gapping is done after 2 weeks. Fertilizer is applied. Weeding is done. And the water level in the plot is regulated as pond rice grows. After about 5 months, the fields are drained to allow ripening of the paddy. Harvesting is done manually using sickles. Dried paddy stalks are threshed by hitting them manually against the ground. Winnowing is done. Grains are taken to the milling center. Yellowish husks are removed from the paddy to obtain white / polished rice. The rice is then graded and packed into bags for sale. Marketing of rice is done by National Cereal and Produce Board (NCPB) / National Irrigation Board (NIB).
Benefits of Mwea Tebere irrigation scheme. 1. It has led to increased food production, for example, rice. 2. Mwea Tebere has provided land for settling the landless people. 3. Reservoirs created have helped in controlling floods. 4. It has promoted land reclamation. 5. Diversification of production, for example, there is subsistence crops and horticultural crops grown. 6. Provision of employment to many people in the farms, local mills and traders. 7. It has provided social amenities like schools, hospitals, which has improved the people's standards of living. 8. It has led to development of roads linking the farms to the markets. 9. It has led to earning of foreign exchange through exportation of rice. 10. It has saved the country's foreign exchange by not importing rice. And 11. It has provided income to farmers / traders through selling of rice.
We now look at problems facing Mwea Tebere irrigation scheme. 1. Stagnant water forms breeding ground for vectors which spread diseases, hence infecting the farmers. What are solutions to this? Insecticides should be sprayed on stagnant water to reduce the breeding rate of vectors. Second problem, shortage of labor, that is during the planting and harvesting season, which forces the farmers to hire labor at a high cost. Solution to this: need for improved marketing by NCPB to resume so that farmers can earn more money to meet their expenses. 3. Fluctuating water level due to excessive drought and diversification of water into Juakari rice farms. Solution to this: construction of dams to store water for use during the dry season, continuous dredging of canals through deepening the canals. Again, government need to enforce laws on proper land use in the catchment areas of the rivers that supply water to the scheme. 4. Pests like Quelea bats which attack the crops, lowering their yields. Solution to this: we can use explosive to scare the bats. The 5th problem is diseases like leaf miner reduces the crop yields, lowering the profit margin. Solution to this: we can use green planting seeds. 6. Delayed payment, which kills the morale of farmers. A solution to this can be the NCPB/NIB should ensure farmers are paid on time. 7. Decline in rice quality due to recycling of seeds, lowering production and profit. Solution to this: we can use a clean planting seeds. The 8th problem, during siltation, farmers incur a lot of cost, hence reducing their profit margin. Solution to this problem: farmers to avoid cultivating on the river banks. 9. Growth of weeds, which compete with rice for nutrients, resulting to low crop yields. The solution to this can be we control weeds using herbicides. 10. We have poorly constructed roads which make transport expensive, reducing the profit margin. Solution can be government to improve the existing roads through construction of new roads. 11. Inadequate health centers, which necessitates traveling for long distances, losing many working hours. Solution to this can be construction of more health centers. 12. Inadequate capital on the part of farmers since the cooperatives collapse, making them unable to acquire farm inputs. Solution to this: we take policies out of cooperatives so that they can be empowered to supply inputs and credit to farmers. 13. And the last one, it's a challenge of low prices of rice. Solution can be diversifying the crops produced in the scheme, improving the quality of the rice produced through research. The government should restrict the importation of rice to reduce competition. and also improving the marketing strategies to enable farmers to source for market outside Kenya.
After Moya irrigation scheme, I want us to look at Pekera irrigation scheme. Aims of setting up the scheme. 1. To utilize detainee labor. 2. To develop land for agricultural production. 3. To settle the pastoralists as farmers. 4. To control the seasonal floods of River Pekera. 5. To utilize the excess water of River Pekera. Source of water. The main source of water for Pekera irrigation scheme is River Pekera. Main methods of irrigation include furrow or canal irrigation. Main crops grown in this scheme are watermelons, onions, chilies, seed maize, pawpaws, kales, tomatoes, beans, and cotton. Let's now look at the physical factors that influenced the location of Pekera irrigation scheme. 1. Availability of water from River Pekera. 2. Presence of gently sloping land / undulating land that allows water to flow by gravity that enhances easy mechanization. 3. The presence of soils rich in mineral nutrients such as clay and loamy soils for growth of a variety of crops. 4. Availability of large tracts of land for irrigation. And finally, inadequate rainfall or the semi-arid conditions making it necessary to irrigate the area. Now, let's look at the human factors that influenced the location of Pekera irrigation scheme. We have 3 main factors. 1. Area was sparsely populated due to the pastoral lifestyle of the inhabitants. 2. The large population of ex-detainees needed to be occupied in a productive way. 3. The desire of colonial government to start a project to occupy political detainees.
Benefits of Pekera irrigation scheme. 1. It has made use of unproductive semi-arid land into productive land. 2. It has settled previously landless people. 3. It's source of livelihood for farmers and their dependents. 4. Taxation of seed maize raises revenue for the government. 5. It has created employment opportunities for local people. 6. It's source of foreign exchange when crops are exported. 7. It has led to development of roads. Lastly, it has led to provision of social amenities like schools, hospitals, electricity. Let's look at the problems facing Pekera irrigation scheme and their solutions. 1. fluctuation of water in River Pekera due to drought reduces the yields. Solution to this: dam construction on the upstream side is needed. Second problem: livestock-human conflict when farmers go to graze in the region due to attractive vegetation. Solution to this: solving the conflict through elders. Third problem: intense ethnic conflict between Tugen and James tribes because the scheme lies on James land, while Tugen are the majority. Solution to this: government to issue farmers with title deeds. The fourth problem is financial problems causing the farmers to be unable to prepare the land. Solution to this is to start cooperatives to offer affordable credit facilities. The fifth problem and solution: impassable road which hinders production of perishable crops. Solution: government to improve the existing roads and construct new ones. The last problem and its solution is limited market for products because the surrounding area are sparsely populated. Solution can be transporting produce to distant market with dense population.
Now, let's look at conditions that favor irrigation farming in Kenya. A. Gently sloping land which permits flow of water by gravity, hence reducing pumping of water to the fields. B. Presence of rivers, reservoirs, or lakes which provide regular water supply, making it possible to irrigate land throughout the year. C. Presence of clay soils or black cotton soils which retain water for longer use by crops. D. High temperatures throughout the year which allows multiple cropping or continuous farming activities throughout the year. And lastly, availability of uninhabited extensive areas to provide adequate land for irrigation. Now, let's look at the significance of irrigation farming in Kenya.
Some of the significance includes: 1. Irrigation farming is source of income to farmers when they sell their produce.
It has led to resettlement of landless people.
And it saves on foreign exchange that would be used to import food needed in the country.
Fourth, irrigation farming has made barren land or unproductive land productive.
Fifth one, it has led to growth of urban centers, e.g. Marigat, that is due to Pekera irrigation scheme, and Mwea due to Mwea Tebere irrigation scheme.
Sixth one, irrigation farming in Kenya has assisted in the control of floods in the affected areas.
Again, It has created employment opportunities to people, improving their living standard.
Another one, irrigation farming in Kenya has enhanced food security in the country by encouraging growing of food crops.
Irrigation has promoted industrial development through providing raw materials like rice and pineapples.
Another significance of irrigation farming is it has led to development of roads in the area.
It has led to provision of social amenities like schools or hospitals, improving people's living standards.
Finally, it has earned Kenya foreign exchange through exportation of fruits, chilies, and flowers.
We now look at problems facing irrigation farming in Kenya. 1. Destruction of crops when excess water goes to the fields, causing flooding. 2. Pests like Korea bugs, aphids, or termite destroys the crops, leading to low yields. 3. Diseases like liver minor affect the crops, leading to low yields. 4. Inadequate water stroke unreliable rainfall makes the land not be fully utilized.
5. Growth of weeds on furrows and canals causing reduced water flow to the farms. 6. Silting of the canal which prevents water from flowing smoothly to the farms. 7. Leaching taking nutrients to the lower horizons where they can't be accessed by some plants, leading to lower yields. 7. Diseases like bilharzia and malaria transmitted by vectors living in stagnant water weaken and even kill farmers.
8. Payment of low prices to the farmers, which kills the morale of farming.
9. High cost of production reduces profit margin to the farmers.
10. Mismanagement of irrigation bodies leads to losses, lack of credit, and low prices.
11. Farmers lack the necessary technical advice to enhance their agricultural production as there are very few extension officers.
12. Shortage of labor, giving farmers the burden of hiring labor at a high cost.
13. Limited markets as a result of some schemes being located in sparsely populated areas.
The last 3. Inadequate capital to meet the operational cost.
In the next lesson, we are going to cover irrigation schemes in Kenya. In our lesson today, we looked at land rehabilitation and reclamation, where we looked at the key definitions, methods of land reclamation in Kenya, which included
draining of swamp in flood prone areas,
irrigation in order to provide water,
control of pests.
Another one is filling open pits or landscaping,
planting trees through afforestation,
filling open quarries with water,
plant control,
controlling soil erosion,
introducing drought-resistant crops,
use of manure or fertilizers,
and draining a portion of the lake to provide land for farming.
Finally, we looked at land rehabilitation methods, which included planting of trees or afforestation,
constructing of terraces,
construction of barns and gabions,
applying manure stroke fertilizer on the land,
filling up of quarries with soil,
controlled grazing,
constructing dikes,
mulching.
We also looked at Mwea Tebere irrigation schemes, where we looked at the objectives, sources of water, methods of irrigation, and the crops grown. We further looked at the physical factors that influenced the location of Mwea irrigation scheme, which included
presence of River Nyamidi and Diba,
presence of black cotton soils,
the area is gently sloping,
availability of extensive land,
hot climate conditions,
presence of loamy soils. We further looked at human factors that influenced the location of Mwea irrigation scheme. These factors included
government policy,
Mwea Plains was sparsely populated,
strategic location near to major urban centers,
and finally, labor was readily available. We also looked at the process of rice cultivation from land cultivation to marketing. And after that, we further went ahead and looked at benefits of the irrigation scheme. Until the next time, it is bye from us.